Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Tough Toy Tryouts. For all you newbies out there, consider subscribing, and if you want to be that guy who shouts out first in the comments, hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we post something new. This week, we're testing out the BIONIC BONE by Outward Hound. Not our first toy by the company. If you recall, Story tested a puzzle toy by them, and it was definitely a challenge for her. This toy, however, is right up her alley. This bow tie shaped toy is made out of what they call FDA food grade bionic rubber. Pretty sure all that means is that it's non-toxic and won't harm your pet should they swallow a little, and let me emphasize little, bits of the toy. According to their packaging, it's the strongest toy they make, and it has a cavity for the insertion of treats, plus it bounces and floats. Quite the versatile toy. So, now that we know what we're testing, let's toss this thing on over to Story and see how it holds up after a week's heavy abuse. But first, let's include a little bit of gratuitous toy violence. If you have little ones about, be sure to let them see the carnage. And here it is, all covered in hair and little where to be seen. And what's that? Treats inside? Sloppy work there, Story. I'll be honest, Story thought this was a fetch toy, so she didn't chew it that much. Still didn't keep her from having fun though. So how did this toy perform? Let's find out right now. For safety, the toy receives a 5. There's no pieces to swallow, and even if they do bite off a chunk, the material is completely safe and should digest, assuming the pieces are small enough. You shouldn't leave your dog unattended with any toy, but we felt safe leaving this around for some impromptu chewing action. For design, I give this Bionic Super Toy a 4. I like that the material is super strong, but it is also giving, so it should be easier on your dog's teeth. The toy could definitely use some sort of flavoring to avoid the necessity of treats, because otherwise Story only wanted to play fetch with this. That said, it has a good bounce and does actually make a pretty good fetch toy. Yet again, we come to longevity, which is never easy to judge, but for us it receives a 5. There's no sign of wear on this toy, but as we explained before, Story was more about fetching this, and when she was chewing, it became more about salivating all over the thing. Gross. And that leaves us with a price, and this baby gets a 4. At $9.99 on Chewy, it's a bit on the pricey side, but it'll likely be with us for a while, so it's money well spent. I just wish we got a little more chew out of it. So, after punching numbers into the old mechanical calculator and getting checked for a hernia after lifting the damn thing, we can clearly see that the BIONIC BONE by Outward Hound receives a much-deserved 4.5 bones and Story seal of approval. It's a good design that ended up being very versatile, but could use a flavoring to entice. And that's where we end this week's episode. If you enjoyed it, feel free to hit that like button and